Vu Vanthong looked at him angrily. Listen, what you say is what people say. Smiling for an hour, most likely in the blink of an eye, suddenly seriously said, but that, although it is true that the endowment of the department is very high, but if it's so high that it's hard to imagine, it can be compared to the genius of the apostles. Not sure. She can't even beat the royal palace. Than Van of the emperor. If all 6 long phoenixes are at that level, now I can deal with them. This word of yours is basically too ambitious. But Vu Vanthong also did not argue. No matter how long this person dances, he fought alone against the 3 great masters of the 7 kingdoms. To die to disabled. You can safely get back out. Such a person is qualified to despair. But right now, you have always maintained a silent form. Then suddenly, Khan coughed. He said the boy must be. If so, I'm afraid it will be the next year. You will suffer a lot. Most likely, you looked at him and said, oh. What does that mean? Feng Zhuo opened his evil eyes and looked at him. Then casually say, you've been dancing for a long time. Be sure of your own abilities. You soon understood the situation over the years. The dance for a long time. I've met her before, too. Although there's great genius, unfortunately, the situation is unstable. Should be delayed. Cultivation progress lagged far behind other world disciples. That's why it's as powerful as it is now. For you it really is. The power is not so great. You said before, she can't beat Hongfu Than Van. But I have to tell you I'm 52. The tendency to who had fought with Hongfu Than Van. The old man was present at the scene. Arbitration for 2 houses. You can guess what the outcome is. Ha ha ha. Only one trick Hongfu Than Van completely lost. At that time I looked out. The nature of this girl is superior to the long kidney guard. The genius of the other 6. They all possess such qualities. More. Now the Big Quan department is again in charge of the long-armed. She can focus on her cultivation now. I don't know if in 5 years the power will jump. To what extent is this? The disciples of the other 6 houses practiced longer than her. It is definitely stronger. 100 paintings this time. It really makes me look forward to it, ha ha ha. His word just ended. Most likely, suddenly take a deep breath. The face seemed to stop. If it's true what he just said, the power of the 6 longest phoenix will surpass the elders of their own tribe. Then what he has to face? It's these 7 monsters. You have to carefully consider one. Not say 2 words. The most likely is the yellow silk. Seriously consider. Vu Vanthong saw that happily nodding. Keep pointing your hand towards it for 6 long. Hentai Lamb. Long Lamb Pharmaceutical Piercing Room. Hentai Lamb famous 7 families with body speed. The wind is like the wine that crosses the forest. The shape of the ghost is often difficult to guess. Of the 6 long sword servants, metal armor Dragon Ball ordinary, compared to his heavenly brother. I don't know this heavenly name. How many times stronger? He's a real sword genius. A lot of elders don't get it all their lives. Martial arts mysterious knife of the sword servant No 09 final. I heard at the age of 59. This boy has trained. Is a monster of extraordinary genius. Suddenly at this moment the sound suddenly stopped. Take a deep breath, stop talking. But the next one. Brother, the previous ones, if you compare them to this one, it's really nothing. This man is a genius among geniuses. Monster in line 5, monster big guy. King Mon. Emperor Long Hong Fu Then Thien. Accepted to 160 lightning sun. Vu Van took a deep breath. Let me calm down a little. Then talk again. I've met you before, Tai. He is the Emperor of Than Van. But compared to my great CA, that name, you can only count as a mediocre person. Including the 5 longest remaining Fuang. If compared to him, they are just like normal people. Secrets about him are extremely rare. But it can be confirmed once this person strikes. Even if it's the 5 longest. It's not his opponent either. I am most likely to hear this word without fail. That said, the 6 Confederates couldn't deal with it. How scary is that kid after all? Vu Van Thong came to the side, most likely patting her shoulder. Sigh, it's clear now, brother. Even if it's just harassing the Emperor, then it's not easy. Compared to these real monsters, you are still a monster. Maybe the fight one or not. I don't know for sure. His eyes breathed the most deeply. I thought for a moment and whispered, don't worry about the next 5 years. Certainly in front of everyone, it's going to be a whole new kind of personality and bliss. But during this time, we have to do some work. I hope King 7 can ensure peace. Vu Van Thong and Fuang Tu glanced at each other. Smiling, nodding. Vu Van laughed and said, don't worry, brother. Just focus on training. Be well prepared for 100 paintings. Keep us at risk. And again, if you can show your talent this time, your father will borrow an excuse. The name of the house is for you. Until then, if the king wants to move on, it must definitely pass. 7 will be much more difficult. The most obvious smile. What is the risk of infection? There is danger, there is opportunity. 100 paintings this time. It's the greatest opportunity to get lost and climb to the top. In the end, the 2 of you are the best. Hand over a few things, up from leaving. Look at the backs of 2 people, gradually disappeared in the Black Fung Mountain. Most definitely in the eye there is a light. Turn around and head to the conference room. Talking to the peanuts usually next to, the old lady called all the elders of the house. It's time we stepped out of the forest. Let's try to make a real frown. Understand the meaning of nods. Very quickly all the elders, all but a few, are in the conference room. It is often the most reliable. Sitting in the position of the host, sweeping around towards everyone. Bring everything of Vu Van Thong to the explanation. One time. I hear this, everyone, a commotion. Glancing at each other. Face color stops heavy. He couldn't help but scream out loud. Want a new family that hasn't grown to 15 like us. Go face to face with the 7 kingdoms. It's been growing for 1,000 years. The 2 men looked at each other and looked at each other. The face is a little serious. 2 of them live in 7 families. Of course, you know the difference between the current loss compared to 7 families. Even though we are now lost, there are 3 masters watching the town. The same butler who's wiser than the most lightning fast man in the world. But that's not enough to deal with 7. Is to take the egg and fight the stone. The task of the Emperor 7 this time is really heavy. Most likely the world suddenly looked towards the celestial feast. Seriously say, he used to live in the royal palace. How many wins do you think we have now? Hong Fu Than Thin. I have just said that everyone is looking forward to watching the show. Then he shook his head and said no. There is no possibility of winning. Hear the answer. People can't help but watch. Everyone in a blink of an eye. Probably the most frowned upon. His face also sank in his heart and became heavy. The snow is laughing for an hour. Let us talk about the devil. Our butler is not a normal person. Scene. That can kill 10 celestial masters in a row. You guys can do this whole dance. Maybe the little devil Hong Fu Than Thin. Better than trash. Our butler Sao. As she just finished. Probably the most aggressive of her. Billionaire now is not the time to flatter. I hope you can be a little serious. Or we'll see what you said. He really wants me to die. The words just came out and everyone was immediately startled. They didn't expect it. Every day, I don't see anything. But when it's time to be so careful. This mentality is really suitable for big workers. This is the attitude of the person above. They don't just listen to one side. Blinded by flattery. He's really calm. The silent prayer nods casually. The butler is not bad. 3 princes and Fuang Thursday batch never really met that kid. So most of what they say is hearsay. I haven't really thought about it yet. But anyone who's ever met him, they all have an impression. That boy is the king of heaven. It's a real monster. The Snow Elder had a guard. Family scene. He could have killed the Master of Heaven. But today the old man has to tell the track. Housekeeper, you're not the first person to do that. That was 15 years ago. Hong Fu Than Thin. He easily defeated the Lord of Heaven. Of the Emperor. And at that time, he was only in the 2nd skeleton. You should know that the elders. It's different from the lower demons. They all practice the Emperor extremely determined. Is a real price fitness guru. His word just ended. Probably the most amazing eyes. I can't think about what he says. He can defeat the Master of Heaven. One of them is the skin on the back. 2 is by using diamond SA. Other than those 2, it's hard to imagine. Is there a way can help a man so strong that he's perverted? Think about it with your eyes closed. So this match must be carefully calculated. He seemed to have expected everyone's reaction. Shocking tears of laughter. A voice reluctantly shook his head. There are monsters in this world as rumored. It's as if God gave birth to that man Ra to trample on all geniuses and mediocre people at your feet. Before leaving, that monster, he has always been taught to practice. I don't know if I've reached her level. But to the whole Hong Fu Than Van, also reached the heavenly perspective. At least the government is clean. It has to be a 5-star fantasy or more. Then, I really don't know how strong the power will be. Most people who have heard this agree. Even if one's genius is higher, then he can reach the level. It's hard to imagine that. No one can be born. It was a monster. Sheep inflammation high frowned. I look at the most worried. According to the devil, the butler has no victory. And the tares of laughter shook their heads. It's not certain. The old man was only talking about power. Track the butler, you can't beat that monster. But talk about the butler tracks tricks. Even if others don't know, maybe we old men can't be good. Don't forget how we got lost. Just finished talking. Everyone looked at each other and laughed. Strictly also regained confidence. That's right, frankly. The bravery of Track the butler, it's not in his power, but in sinister schemes and bizarre tricks. No one compares. In this area, the win is high. Smiling tears for an hour. He said, the 100 years of war. This period, it's probably the most powerful in 1,000 years. Fortunately, he was born 100 years early. If not, the old man, I can only make beer during this fight. This moment is most definitely real. See Hongfu natural resources. It became his biggest threat. In the 100 families of men, he's really a big problem. So he must find a way to improve his strength. For 5 years, become a higher self than you are now. Think about here, seriously look at everyone. Ask the elders. You know, in the sky, where the lightning is most intense. Everyone was a little stunned and said in unison, what does the butler mean by that? In the hand just flashed a hidden proof. Light appeared in front of everyone. I think the most obvious reason is because of it. This thing just came out. Everyone screamed in horror. The testimony of the 6th level beast. Adopted to 161 ghost books for demons. One-sided devotional. He looked at the egg on the most pathetic hand. Ha ha ha, the treasure of the butler track is not small. Even the 6th-stage beast has it. This one comes out. There's a 6-steered beast on the side. The master who saw the scene also had to run. That's how much we both wasted. Not only does everyone have a soul, it's a 5-stage beast. Not expected. The butler must have hidden a 6th family beast. This is a fake treasure. It's hard to get. Surely the butler is more cunning than you. Ordinary people cannot compare. The ants and sheep looked at each other. The face is also a fan. Most likely, he laughed softly for an hour. Don't hold back. I also happen to have this egg. There was a little hurt before. We come to peace for a long time, is to find the jade Bodhi and restore it. Then there's a constant state of emergency. So can't worry. It's only recently been restored. But I want to hide it. We've got to find a place to gather a lot of lightning. The new power absorption. The ant serpent shrugged casually and said, it's not easy. It's not okay if you set up a lightning strike. But most likely, he shook his head. Can't be. The French force led to. Even though Sao is weak, it is a waste of effort. I want to let it bloom in natural lead. After growing up, stronger power. Everyone silently nods. His words are not wrong. Coming soon, face the monster home theme. Besides any more tricks or that. A long meditation ceremony. Finally, whisper. If you say that there are thunderstorms all year round, long without stopping, then that's the only place. His words are not finished yet. The snow knows where he is. Hurry to speak up. Where it's forbiddance. We are now. Even the Seven Ras cannot be defeated. Do you want us to get in bigger trouble than Sao? Most likely, there is a little frown. Curious to say where you say. Contemplating a battle. They all looked at each other a little. Finally seriously talking about the sun. How to paint there. It's a very deep look at one. Just as the butler thought. Where all year round thick, dark clouds and thunder. With relentless violence. I don't know how many years. That was before the creation of the universe. The two most powerful eyes lit up. Cry out for an hour. Then Lao Tzu is there to incubate my eggs. Can't. The snow was in a hurry to say. If you wanted to go there before, nothing. 65 years ago. One of the 3 national cardboard friction cardboard. There are for criminals. Day-to-day suffering thousands of heartache. Let's go there. If during incubation is not careful to remove the ban. Let those forgo. It means you're guilty of friction. We can't be guilty of that. Most likely, my eyes murmured. The 4 of you said. The Book of Magic. Is there someone to watch, or periodically check on? The ant serum thought for a moment. In the end, it seems that there is no. Friction cardboard seems to leave them there and ignore. Maybe no one would risk blaming them. Let these forgo. Hear this word. The most likely is laughing. What are you afraid of? Even if you're not careful, let go. Let's just pat our ass and run away. Who knows we do? You have to decide that too. End words. He turned to the 2 serious men and said. Minte. The old man needs people to work. Come to my room later. Then turn the words around. In his eyes dia excited tears we go. In the sky accumulating sun. A great current of light through the air. The best of the world with the prayers towards. Come on, son. Probably the most touching. The room was filled with tears. A few more days. The prayer is forward-oriented. Let us look at it, according to the old man's plan. In 3 days it will surely come. Most definitely a nod. He's shaking a little on the back. Speed up your talk to avoid a long night. That's right now. A wind chariot sound. A black image suddenly turned towards them. Probably in the eyes of the bowels. Before the body can't stop. I saw the black shadow coming towards him. Not from panic. At this time, the Lord hurriedly reached out his hand. In time to catch the most evil, pull back the body. Immediately stop. But the clear black ball doesn't slow down. Towards them, banging towards. The sacred ceremony screamed for an hour. Shy pan hit raw friction, 3 great devils long trow. Like an explosion goes off. Black photo here temporarily flew. The sacred ceremony standing in the air. Majestic and fierce, but the flushed hands are a little shaky. Probably the most forward. Look at the worried old man's cry. The celestial festival frowned and shook his head. It's just that the item is a spirit soldier. At least 5 products. If not, the old man is a master trainer. I have to bleed now. Most likely, he breathed a sigh of relief. He has nothing to worry about, and he's happy. Maybe the hand does not fight the spirit army. 5 products. Lao Tzu's chains. Head stick. He is also considered a master. I caught a big fish today. And suddenly there was a laugh. A shadow suddenly appeared. Stand a few feet away from you. Move your hand towards the black object. At this point they are most likely to see clearly. The object is 1.2 meters long body, 2 heads hanging a branched skull. That the holder of the short body baby ugly face. A cruel face that others dare not despise. Most likely, the eyes are focused on the person in front of you. They look at each other with the same eyes. Shocking sound, master divine projection, 3 identical. The dwarves heard it as if they were a little excited. Tay dance, Tay cry out loud. If you knew he was bad, then get your hands tied up. Maybe he can spare a dog's life for you. It's just a magic trick. I didn't even look at the numbers myself. He opened his mouth in front of the old man. But the cold doesn't go a step further. Emitting potential gas. Just a strong pressure guy. The dwarf who saw this scene couldn't help but exclaim, "What is this old man doing?" Even the strength of the opponent is unknown dared to act. That little thing you can live on. It's like a miracle to reach the 3rd miracle. I can't help but laugh for an hour. Most likely, he glanced at him. Casually say, "Now it's your turn to ask who you are. Why do you have to sneak up on us? Who instructed you?" Flashing eyes. Dwarf Kier is the most probing in a long time. Laugh out loud. Hey ha ha ha. Subplot scene 5 identical. 2 wings, pretending to be bad. You should ask your grandfather's name. Feed the one who does not raw the one who does not raw the devil. Lum stuff. The eyes gradually dropped. Most likely, he said coldly. No more questions. Let's solve this. We're on our way. It doesn't matter. And in the blink of an eye, it's a miracle. Coldly rushed towards the dwarf screaming. This unholy thing died for the old man. Adorable to 160 to Ghost Book for Demons too. Just for a moment, VA touch continuous echoing endlessly. It is not in the hands of a ghost or any spirit. The sacred ceremony does not fall into the lowest position. The opposite is due to the difference vi. The dwarf has a warrior in his hand. Is constantly being retreated behind by the celestial liturgy. Dwarves are hard to avoid. Attack like a storm of tears. His face trembled with fear for a moment. This time his mother found a hard bone and swallowed it. He immediately raised his feet and wanted to run. His face looks at him. He said coldly that he wanted to run. And now the dwarf is only a few meters behind. Then in the hand appeared a handshake. In the blink of an eye a wave of black gas suddenly appeared. And then it's a fictional skull. It's a little scary to look at. Probably the most. Looking at the image, the skull appeared in amazement, muttered, "This is a magic trick that's good enough." See Y's reaction. The dwarf thought he was afraid and laughed out loud. "I can't believe it. My family is the most evil magic master. A low-class martial art of the family. Demon head photo. It will devour your body and soul. I'm scared, ha ha ha." Shocking tears at the corners of the mouth spat out to words, "Stupid. If you dare to despise me, you will die." Dwarves scorned by the tears of heaven immediately roared with anger. Scepter in the hand rushed to attack. The cold moon prayer, a disdainful voice said, "There's no eye for you to see today. What is a true martial art?" Said in hand. Once again the force screamed out. Friction 3 superb ghost long song theme. In the blink of an eye an echoing dragon. The sacred ceremony of embracing the majesty of heaven and earth towards the dwarf coming. Very quickly touched the dwarf's skull stick. The dwarves couldn't spit out a big sip of blood. Fly back. Long stick in hand. He also blinks his eyes in two. A 5-piece of armor that was broken by the body. The power of the sky. After using friction, definitely terrorism course. Now the dwarf looks at the broken scepter. In my eyes of fear. Hurry up, please wait a moment. I have lost, please ignore it. Just finished. Tears of horror turned to look towards the most ordinary. I can see it in his eyes without understanding it. He laughed out loud and said, "Ha ha. What has no eyes now? Please forgive me. Just finished." The big laugh of the day, the interest rate chief hit. The dwarf cried out in fear. "The brothers. You're about to be beaten to death. Come and save me. Who dares to move our CA? Who dares to move our CA?" Suddenly, right now, there's a loud sound. It makes the tears a little bit stagnant, looking over. I only see this moment. A jet of black air in the blink of an eye plunging into the war ring. The tears recede towards. Then he ran to the side of the dwarf just now. 3 other names have now appeared. The same body shape. Just intonation on different sides. Brother has come. The dwarf just now showed off his fierce laughter. Ha ha ha. My brothers are here. You know what to put your hands on. He spared the dog's life for you. The most substantial. He glanced at the 4 dwarves floating in the air. My mouth is cold. These 4 idiots are also fake cool. Where did they get that courage? Thought. He lost his patience and turned towards the tears of heaven. The old. Take what's not this and destroy it humanely. He really can't see anymore. I looked at the four people in front of me. Immediately stopped. The face is a little awkward. Track the butler. Looks like we're in big trouble. He then turned to the four men holding the power. You guys, are you the one in the ghost's rumor? To chase to collect lightning sun. Ghost book for demons. This word just came out. Probably the most immediately amazed roll of eyes. These four guys are the four demons. They're the criminals locked up by the magic books. There is no ban on binding. Why did you run out again? The red-haired dwarf laughed ha-ha to extravagant words. Hi. It is not wrong that we are the devil. It's called the devil's love. Ghost book for demons. Look at these four guys who have a little bit of a personality. There is also a name that is seriously injured. I dare to pretend cool now. Most likely, the face dropped. These four people are idiots. I really didn't know what it was before. Let's bring the four of them back into the fold. I think the most likely thing is to say, they are still human, destroy them. I know now because of the sow. Friction drops them at the mountain. Ignore. I don't want to see these four freaks. Appeared in front of me again. But the prayer did not move. On the contrary, the face stopped muttering. The butler. Don't look at the four of them. They don't seem normal. But Power 4. This man joined forces that year to shake the universe. Hear this word. In his real eyes after looking at them. Mouth a word. If so, we'll have to see. Just made a picture. A dwarf is hiding behind. The other three looked at the two. Worry about me. They seem to be very helpful. Let's run. Hear this word. Another dwarf aggressively knocked him over the head. Angry scold cowardly. Every time we shape our airwaves. They were all cancelled. Most likely a small nod. These four people still have normal names. And he just had this thought. The dwarf said the next thing. Even if you do not avenge the old man, the old man's skull is broken. So must also let them temple a non-sow tree. Most likely the aggressive face shrinks. On a head full of dark glands. I thought this guy was normal. He said, you don't sound like a man. His mother in his heart. That's his old man, not with a stick. Finally the old man. I can't see these two guys playing. Aggressive knock on the head to people. He was angry and told you. Not here to argue. Stop talking and get back the air. Towards the two most likely. His mouth kept screaming, and he rushed to the front line for Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu led the charge with Lao Tzu. Already said, he led the way towards the two most confident people. 2. But not 2 steps away. He spat out a sip of fresh blood. Steady eye. Staring at the surest side. Come on. The last dwarf. It seems like I'm not afraid of big things. Jumping back and forth screaming. But it doesn't basically move. In the eyes of the other 3 names can't help but condense. The pond towards where he rolled his eyes endlessly scolding. It seems like I left the 2 most likely people. Aside don't care about. Mother, whenever you're around, call for the most fun. Try to at least profit. That's right, 3 times you go first. Or we're all out.